Friday, and we're happy to be back here talking about private practice growth. So, welcome, one and all. We'll give a few seconds, but if you're tuning live or even watching the replay, leave a like, leave a comment. It really helps us out. Let us know you're here listening and you're getting some value out of some of the stuff we're going into. Today is one of our favorite topics, but it's also probably one of the hardest topics to talk about because it means some uncomfortable conversations with yourself. And there have to be a lot of those if you want to grow your private practice. So without further ado, let's dive in to shiny objects. We'll talk about what those are and why they are the king of momentum killing above all else. Let's go.
Yeah, I love that intro, guys. Shiny objects, what are they? Well, they're shiny objects. Um, Imagine something's glinting on the side and something's glinting on the other side. It's hard to stay focused on one thing, right? Shiny objects are the distraction. Shiny objects are disguised as something quick and easy that we can go grab. Shiny objects are the number one reason why you're spinning in circles. Shiny objects are the number one reason why you're not committed to finding success in a path that, quite frankly, is consistently proven to find success. So if you find yourself finding advice online or wherever, business coaches, friends, family, whatever, and it's worked for another practice, and then you turn around 2 months after you start implementing it and start doing something else, well, that's probably a shiny object. If you run into some hardship and all of a sudden you find something, grass is greener on the other side, it's never greener on the other side. These are all shiny object examples, guys. Um, I think this is kind of the way that I like to look at this is oftentimes we avoid doing the hard thing that will get us progress. We avoid doing the hard thing that will get us progress by finding other things to do. So instead of being clever about avoiding the big things that we need to do, just do the big things, do the big hard things that are required of us.
And I think the hard part is often, unless you develop some self awareness on the way you make decisions, it can look like you're actually making the next best decision for your business or you're taking the actions on the correct thing. And I think this is why understanding what truly shiny object is and how it shows up in your own life is really important because often you can have the end goal of making more revenue for your business, right? And if you're constantly jumping from opportunity to opportunity, private practice to group practice to coaching to launching a course to fill in the blank, all these different ways that can and might increase your revenue, right? So you're still working on the same goal, but what you're failing to understand is each one of those is either segmenting, splitting, breaking apart your attention, or it's restarting you back at square one on a new path to get up to the mountain. So sure, the goal is to get up the mountain, right? But you're kind of walking yourself backwards and coming at it at a new entry point saying, oh, maybe this one will be easier. Or maybe this one will be better. Or maybe this one has more of what I want to have. So I think that there's two parts of shiny object. I think there's the misvaluation of what's actually going to help you get there and doubling down on the path that you've chosen and sticking with it. And then there's things that come up along the way that distract you and just make it so you don't do the hard work. You don't do the doing that's needed on the path that you're on. So you skip out on it and you waste time in busy work and you waste time revamping your website when it doesn't need it. Your website is 80% of the way there, but something else is at 0%. And so it needs your time and attention. Your website doesn't need to go from 80 to 90% yet. And some of those things.
Yeah, something that really prompted this conversation today was just like the simple little small busy work tasks that you assign yourself that probably don't need to exist, but in a lot of ways it's an avoidance mechanism. It's a way that you can avoid a certain aspect of your practice that might be uncomfortable. That might be not something that you want to go touch. It's maybe not a strength that you've developed. It's something that you have no muscle attached to. You haven't done the repetitions enough to to be able to fully express it and to be able to fully get the benefits from it. And so it's hard. It's hard work. Sometimes that's picking up the phone and returning a call to a new client inquiry. Sometimes it's as simple as just taking the time to go work on your marketing. And instead of taking the time to go work on your marketing, which is the hard thing, you end up doing something silly, like something that you probably shouldn't be doing in the first place.
Yeah.
But it feels like progress. It feels like you're doing something. But in reality, it's just a shiny object. In
Yeah.
reality, it's just something to hold your time because you feel like you need to do work.
Yeah, I watched a video the other day that talked about shiny object and actually walked through some frameworks and a number of questions that would help you identify whether you're personally in a shiny object frame or framework struggling with it, or whether you're spending your time on the correct things. And what I actually took away with it is this list of questions or this process probably should be a little bit customized to each person, because we all have a habit of getting distracted, fatigued, and disfocused on different parts of our business and in different ways. Some of us are more impulsive, some of us are, whatever it is. So you probably need to spend some time slowing down and thinking about what are the signs, what are the indications that I'm moving away from the center of my target and adopting or going after something that is a shiny object rather than staying current. But a couple questions that you might find helpful. Do you frequently jump from one project to another without completing them or getting the result that you want? Do you find yourself spending a lot of time on something or on a bunch of activities without seeing significant results or progress from them, right? Have you spent tons of hours on your website, but it hasn't translated to new clients yet, but you feel like you're constantly spending it when maybe something else is going on under the surface? Are you constantly seeking out new opportunities, fads, dreams, while neglecting current commitments or current goals that are on the calendar? And there's a couple other, questions that I'm sure I could layer in there that are even listed out in this framework. But the core thought or the core concept is staying true and staying focused to what you're currently working on and engaged on the core activities. It takes a long time, weeks, months, years, to build something good. And it takes an even longer time to level yourself up in a specific enough way. Imagine if you spent years trying to learn all the different modalities all at the same time for your own therapeutic process. In some ways, you kind of got a base level of skill, and then you went one at a time by topic, by process. And now at your career, maybe you're pursuing specialty, but one at a time. EMDR, and then a deeper training on DBT, and then a deeper, right? You're going sort of brick by brick for your own education, for your competencies to fulfill your product. Building a business and business ownership is no different. You have to go one at a time, brick by brick, leveling your own business owner self up and leveling your business up through a streamlined process, a streamlined channel, and some of those things. And this is the mechanism: distraction, lack of focus, splintered opportunity and attention that we see being a significant downfall, or maybe a siphon away from the success and the momentum that you want to have.
I think it might be pretty powerful to actually look at those questions and answer them how we see it from therapists. I don't know if that would be helpful. Do you have those questions? It was 4 questions that you listed off.
Um, what do you find yourself spending a lot of time on without seeing any significant progress or results?
So I think a lot of the time I see this website's the big sink. We see that oftentimes. We also see oftentimes like conversations with third party providers that are just getting you nowhere.
Yeah,
Sometimes this is like insurance companies, and sometimes it's like, is this the number one thing that you need to have done for your practice?
yeah,
Like I see it so much with lawyers. I see it so much with a lot of like external elements. I don't know if you
Yeah. We see this a lot with social media where
there you go.
you feel, and I think shiny object comes a lot in when you feel the pressure to pursue something because other people are telling you it's right, or other people are telling you it's cool, or other people are telling you that you'll have the success you want to have because they found it there. But how long did they have to work at it before they found it there? Is it worth jumping strategies, right? How much is it going to cost you to jump strategies? Things like that. And social media is a huge one. This therapist pops off. This person went viral. This person gets all their clients. This person's feed is super beautiful. This person's videos. Well, 95% of the therapists we work with in our flagship program don't post on social media, and they achieve their multi six, multi seven figure results without that. So if you're looking for some confidence right now about social media specifically and the need to not do it, find it here. And, after looking at hundreds of practices in the last, 12 to 18 months that have directly reached their goals, I can say most of them did not get there by posting on social media. It can certainly be helpful, and many do
And
do
it can
that.
work. Yeah.
And it certainly can work. Same with spending tons of time on a website, but yeah, so that's, some perspective on that question. Another one of the questions was, are you constantly seeking out new opportunities and fads and other things, which means neglecting your current commitments?
Yeah, this one's obvious for me. This one is actually in two cases is how it presents as far as what I'm considered for most people is uh, adding additional things when you don't need to add additional things, um, like diversifying revenue. That's one of the big ones. Adding in coaching, adding in groups all of a sudden, adding in whatever. Sometimes it's the right decision, but a lot of times it's not too. So we need to be careful with that when we're adding in new things. And sometimes on the simple end, this can also just be like looking for new opportunities. Like my Facebook ads didn't work, and so now I'm going to do Google ads, or my SEO isn't working, and so now I'm going to try social media. Or blogging didn't work for me after I tried it for 3 months, and so now I'm going to go try hitting networking groups. Or now I'm going to go just trying new things when you didn't get your first one to work is a big identifier to me that you probably won't get the second thing to work.
Yeah. And we see almost any marketing strategy work, but there's a couple things to note here. Every single strategy to grow your business requires a different level of problem solving and a different level of effort for it to come to its full maturity. It's mixing in your uniqueness, your own problems, your own set of circumstances, skills, your environment, your market, right? That all of that stuff in with the strategy until it hits maturity, right? So for it to hit its full maturity on social media or on ads or through your SEO website, all of those are going to be a little bit different for everyone. But I think most people underestimate two things. Number one, how long it's going to take you to get acclimated to the strategy, right? That's that person who wants to climb a mountain and it's used to low altitude for their entire day, and maybe they're in great shape, but as soon as they're in a high altitude, right, they have to get acclimated to that if they want to perform at the same level. They're not used to living in that environment, right? A new marketing strategy or a new approach is a little bit like, how long will it take you personally to get acclimated to that altitude, because the altitude isn't actually the thing that's changing, right? The mechanism, the Google ad isn't changing. It's you that's changing and getting used to it. And then you also just underestimate the work that's needed to be done through that strategy. So by underestimating, you set yourself up for failure and wanting to jump sooner because you're like, oh, I'm not getting the result here. And I've already paid my dues, spent my money, put in my time, right? And you haven't even gotten acclimated to the strategy yet. You have to go deeper and be a little bit better. And I think this is the one that has been the most painful for me to realize, is that I often stopped a strategy short right before or right as I was seeing the progress, but I had such high expectations for the result that I wanted to get out of it. I didn't finish giving it the time of day it deserved to let the strategy reach its full maturity. So let your strategies reach their maturity, marinate them, give them a little bit more time before you hop out and say, this didn't work, or I need to try something new. do the hard work and improve yourself and your process.
Love that. I love it. Do we have a third question too, or is it just those two?
Um, do you? Nope, not that one. Um, do you frequently jump from one project to another without completing them? Uh,
Yeah, guys, it's kind of a reiteration, and I might just quick do a quick recap on ultimately to get better at anything. There has to be a feedback loop in place. There has to be a feedback loop in place, which means you go out, do an activity, get feedback, improve the activity, and do the action again.
yeah,
Right? And that's how everything works. Right? That's how everything works. And occasionally you get lucky. Occasionally you get lucky, you go out, do an action, and boom, it works right away.
yeah.
It exceeds your expectation even. But that's like winning the lottery. It doesn't happen like that. It does not happen like that typically. Go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say you don't need a lot of side quests to go and complete your main goal. Sometimes you do for the enjoyment, for the reinvigoration, for the taste, for your own personal growth, right? So you can come back and get back to the main end goal, right? When you're climbing in your journey up the mountain of business development, there are moments to stop, to rest, to look at the view, to explore a little channel, to figure things out. But that's different than what we see many people do, which is like take a couple steps back down the mountain from the path they chose and say, "Ah, this one's raining. Let's walk around the mountain," right? And you end up walking around the base of the mountain over and over again, starting the journey a million times rather than going up the hill, doing the hard work, right? Because the pitch is going to get steeper. The process is going to get harder. The shiny objects available to you. Maybe we can end on this.
Yeah.
The shiny objects and the opportunities available to you will only grow greater, and the no's become harder. More people are going to want your time. More people are going to want your attention. More opportunities are going to come your way. You're going to become more competent, so more business doors could open up for you. All those things are true, and so the no's get harder even as you get better and larger.
Yeah. Saying recognizing a shiny object and saying no to shiny objects is a skill, and it's a skill that you have to continue to develop, and it's something that you have to recognize that doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Opportunities just keep getting bigger, guys. Opportunities keep getting bigger. The no's get harder to say no to.
When you spend time walking the same path you need to walk to get up the mountain, rather than starting, diverting, and creating a new one, you're going to eventually get where you want to go and have the momentum you want.
I love it. Guys, stay away from shiny objects. Happy Friday.
Stay away from shiny objects. Happy